Here with Coach Blake Dean talking about the hitters for this year. And Coach, I think transition might be the perfect word to describe it because you got a brand new middle infield. You have some new faces really all over the place in the field this year. But want to start with the returners and want to start with Pierce Howard, who had an absolute breakout season last year. Has been named preseason conference player of the year according to Perfect Game as well. And certainly a guy you're expecting to really lead this offense.
Yeah, Pierce, came in as a freshman, had a really good freshman year, had a kind of a mediocre sophomore season and has really bounced back and been a big bat for us. He rises up in critical situations. He hits when it matters. He cares. He plays extremely hard day in and day out. And again, an older guy, so even if he goes through some rough patches, hopefully he anchors his team down, gets that big hit, gets his confidence going, and a guy we're going to rely on in the middle of the order this year to kind of carry this team offensively.
Last year you were kind of looking for that table setter early in the season, and you made the switch and you put Caston Furr up there at the top of the order, and he responded in kind and never really looked back, led your team in runs and in stolen bases, and another returner who was an all-conference player last year.
Yeah, Furr's done a great job. He's a very, very consistent player. He does everything fairly well. He can bunt, he can hit and run. He's not going to hit the ball very far, but he barrels it up all the time, gives you consistent at-bats, takes his walks. A guy at third base that plays defense very, very well for us, and just again, he's going to play hard. He's going to give you his best every day. He's engaged. He's locked in. He's always looking for the signs or how to better himself on the bases and things like that. So a guy for us at the top of the order that hopefully goes out, has another great year, repeats it, and is consistent and is sets the table for some of those guys to drive him in.
Meanwhile, behind the plate, of course, you have Jorge Tejeda back, who's been really an amazing receiving catcher and defensive catcher for you guys, and some guys who haven't had a lot of playing time behind them, of course, with Andrew, who redshirted last year, but you bring in Miggy Useche as well. Just talk about kind of that dynamic and the depth that you feel that you have there behind the plate.
Well, I think Tejeda, is by far our best defensive receiving catcher, blocking all that type stuff. I think he does it really, really well. We've always tried to get that bat to catch up, and he has moments where you look up and he's hitting really well, and just kind of if we could just keep that consistency there, that's what we're looking for. I think Miggy is definitely more of an offensive catcher, which his catching is not bad at whatsoever. I just think the bat is more consistent, what we're looking for. So, with those two guys, one may DH, one may catch. And then you have Guidry. Guidry came in as a freshman last year, didn't play, redshirted, came out this fall, led our team in home runs, hit 7 or 8 home runs. So again, he has really, really improved, made drastic improvements. And again, a guy where hopefully this year he can find his stride, and whether we use him to DH, or bounce these guys around catching wise. At the end of the day, it's going to be about the offense, right? We've got to be able to score runs, we've got to be able to drive the ball. So we've got to figure out the best combination to use those 3 guys in.
Meanwhile, one of the guys who you brought in who has received some preseason accolades before even stepping on the field in the privateer uniform, and that's Anthony Herron Jr., who's expected to be your first baseman. A big guy who can hit for a lot of power, had some great power numbers over at John Logan last year, and a guy certainly that can contribute to this offense right away.
Yeah, he's a threat. That's how you look at it. Anywhere in the offense, he's a threat. You mess up, he can leave the ballpark in all parts of it. Strong. He's, again, an older guy. Went to Missouri State, transferred to a junior college, so he understands what a program is supposed to look like. He understands how to go about his business. Had some injuries this fall, but he took care of his body, bounced back, lost some weight, got himself in really good shape, and he's been looking really well. He plays a pretty good first base as well, but again, a guy that I think potentially could cover up Pierce in the lineup to make him even more effective at the plate. So a guy we're expecting some big production from offensively, hopefully drives in a lot of runs for us.
Meanwhile, in the outfield, it's going to be a little bit of a transition for you guys as well this year. Of course, you go from guys like Luther Woolard and Gage Howard last year. It's kind of be a good look, a new look outfield last year. So just kind of talk about what you're expecting from that position this season.
Well, it's basically a totally new offense for the most part in a lot of areas. Guys playing positions that never played before. Gober played some first for us last year for the most part and got hurt and DH a little bit, but we've kind of transitioned him to left field. I'm going to let him go out there and see what he's capable of doing. In center field, we have Angeron and Isaac Williams out there. Angeron is more of definitely a speed guy, lefty bat. And Isaac is one of our most talented players. I mean, he's got it in there. It's right there on the edge. He's just got to become consistent and confident with it, know what he's capable of doing. And then we'll probably run Pierce back out to right field. It's kind of been his home. It frees up the DH spot for us right there. So again, not the most speedy outfield, but hopefully those guys can make the routine plays and make up for it, at the plate with RBIs and driving runners in.
I wanted to get you to talk a little bit about Monty Larry, another guy who has great numbers, especially when you talk about some of his base running abilities, of course, coming in from a junior college as well, and talk about how he fits into this offense.
Again, I think he's very similar to Furr. He's got a little more power than Furr. He can hit a couple home runs this fall. But again, a guy that's got good speed, good baseball instincts. Has been around a good program. Had success in junior college. So again, a guy that's going to probably hit in the top of our order. Hopefully, stays healthy, and an older guy, mature guy, to where again he sets the table, finds ways to get on, hit and run, can drive some balls out of the ballpark, and then again plays a good second base. We're going to miss Isaac at second, but hopefully Monty steps up and gives us a good fill in right there.